how closely is Halo, the series, going to stick to Halo, the video game?
We established and announced the Halo Silver timeline. And really the goal of that was to be able to let the show sort of exist within its own branch of canon. And so, which is a little bit different. So very much founded and rooted in canon. So much of what viewers will see and hear and experience and the events they'll see very much canonical. But there are some diversions that we've taken specifically to support what the story needed. And the intent of this has always been to give players a differentiated experience from the game, just so that we could give them more and really let them be able to sit back and engage with Halo in a different way, let us take them on this journey. And so there will be, the chronology is before the events of Halo Combat Evolved, but there will be stories and events that you see that maybe we have described in the books or maybe are wholly new. And then there are events that we'll look at from a different perspective and maybe do feel a little bit different than players have seen in the game. But hopefully over the course of the 9 hours, as the story plays out, it'll become very clear why we made some of those decisions. And it was always for the betterment of the story or to better understand a character.
Pablo, I'm curious for you, what was the key to unlocking Master Chief, such an iconic character?
Well, getting into the suit helped a lot. That was the first step, obviously. Feeling how he sees the world, the lens that he sees it through, literally. Training, obviously getting myself in shape to be able to manipulate the suit, doing a deep dive on Halo mythology and lore and learning as much as I could about the universe that I was going to be immersing myself in. And then, surrendering myself to the circumstances that the writers had set up for me, which is my job as an actor, to put myself in the world that has been created and let it come alive. In the process of season 1, John goes on a journey of discovery about his history and his humanity. And it was one that, I sent myself on and tried to discover as authentically and earnestly as possible.
How involved was Steven Spielberg? He's an EP on this.
Yeah, no, it was incredible meeting him to sit down. He and Amblin Entertainment were really our first partner when we started on this journey back in 2013. And it was striking. Well, it was striking first to be in a room with a genius creator at that level. But also what was really amazing is how clear it was how much he loved video games, how much he respects gamers, and how much he already understood and appreciated about Halo. And so that was an incredible foundation for us to build in, and it was so comforting to have this master with us really as an incredible guiding force behind the scenes.
Over 20 years, Halo's been in the culture. Why do you think that game has resonated just beyond video games? It's novels, it's graphic novels, and now the TV series.
Yeah, I think some of the themes that go through the franchise are indelible and can be related to by everybody. The themes of hope and humanity struggling against great odds are things that are great things for us to be exploring in any time, right? But then I think why it's, for me personally, from what I observe, why it's lasted as long as it has and been as beloved as it is, and it's also what drew me to it when I got the offer, is the amount and extent and the depth of the mythology and the lore that's been created for the game. The amount of story that's been created by these extraordinary creators is the thing that I think keeps bringing fans back to it, because it's just a massive sandbox for them to play in. And as an actor or a storyteller, it's an incredible resource to have all of this story at your disposal.
The last question then is going to be the decision to have Master Chief remove his helmet.
It wasn't something that when we set out to do this was a foregone conclusion at all. We had left it open to really understand where the story needed to go. But it was always a goal to tell a very character-focused story and very much focused on the Master Chief and on John. And John as a character, as the person inside the armor, isn't isn't a person we get to explore as much in the games because you're in that first person perspective.
One of the biggest decisions that needed to be made is tailoring the entertainment to the medium. And when you're creating a first person shooter video game, you on purpose keep the character vague, and he's a symbol, and so he doesn't speak a lot, and there's not a lot of character development for the character because you're meant to believe that you're him. You want the video game player to help create the experience as the Master Chief. And we're making a TV show. We're not making a first person shooter. And so we tailored this experience to the best form for long format storytelling. And there's no rules against taking the helmet off for the Spartans, right? The Spartans have their helmets off and their Mjolnir off constantly throughout the Halo mythology and lore. It's only the Chief who doesn't take it off because you're meant to believe that you're him. So as Kiki said, we take it off because we want to, go on a journey with the Chief. And in order to relate to your protagonist, in order to empathize with your protagonist, you have to have his face. You have to see how he's feeling about things. So that was a decision early on, but that decision doesn't take away from anybody else's version of the Chief that they play as when they play the game. And it doesn't take away from Steve Downs' iconic version of the Chief that he created for the game, right? Those things exist and will remain exactly as they are. And this is our version of this iconic character.